3 Cunningham team Corvettes came over as part of Cunningham's personal baggage, 20 tons of it. The cars were then driven from Le Havre to Le Mans. Cunningham also entered a new experimental E-type Jaguar. The Camerata USA team entered a 4th Corvette, as well as 3 birdcage Maseratis. Fortunately, all the Corvettes arrived with very little damage. If you'd seen those stevedores at work, you wouldn't have taken any bets. Our foreign cars received a lot of attention from the French people. I guess they hadn't seen any Corvettes to speak of. And let me tell you, driving through some of those narrow streets was just about as hairy as a track at Le Mans. Good practice, though. At Papa Dion's garage in Le Mans, our mechanics worked over the cars, adjusted them, made last-minute changes. Brakes were adjusted and readjusted. With a heavy car like this, they're mighty important. Even the heads got spruced up between practice runs. As you know, good mechanics can just about make you or break you, especially in a 24-hour race. Actually, Le Mans is tougher on the cars than it is on drivers. Most Europeans didn't consider the Corvettes to be serious contenders. After all, this was the car's first entry, and they felt the heavy weight was a decided disadvantage. But one thing they didn't count on was the power. A couple of days before the race, the teams take practice runs on the track. On race day, there'll be over 200,000 people in those stands. Some Porsches are awaiting their turn. That's a fast back-end MG, built specially for the race. Did real fine, too. That's Zora Duntov of Chevrolet, Lee Lilly of the Camerati team, and John Fitch. Fitch has probably driven more European races than any other American driver. The cars pull right out on the course here as compared to the United States practice of going up to the end of the pit lane before you come out. Each pit has its own man with a flag to bring them out on the track. The walls around the course are made up of wicker, backed up with about 10 feet of earth for crowd protection. Makes it kind of rugged if you foul up. My co-driver, Fred Windridge, lost a wheel in practice doing 150 down the straightaway. The car skidded a little, but he got it stopped okay. His story afterwards was that he saw a wheel in his mirror and said, "Uh-oh, some poor sucker lost a wheel." 2 seconds later, he found it was his. Our Corvettes are pretty well squared away by now. When I went over in April, we had a 3.7 rear axle ratio and got 6,200 RPM down the straight. Now, just before race time, we had it down to a 3.3 rear and still got 6,200. That picked up about 15 miles an hour on the straightaway for us. Pre-race inspection of the cars lasts almost a complete day at Le Mans. The officials make certain each car meets all rules and regulations. They look over the majority of the car's parts to see that no special equipment is being used. And they can be pretty hard to persuade, let me tell you. If they can't find an engine number on a part, they insist it should have a number, even if that part never had one in the first place. It's a trying time for the interpreters. It's hard to make the officials understand. The cars are weighed because Le Mans has a prize for the efficiency of a car. In other words, displacement versus weight. Naturally, the Corvette was the heaviest car entered, about 3,000 pounds. We had the biggest engine, too, 4.6 liters. We had a practice lap around the 8.3-mile course, 4:28, without pushing too hard. Our Corvettes were true production cars, with additions like roll bars, adjustable steering columns, non-reflecting instrument lights, etc. It was the only true production car in a race. The others were built specifically for Le Mans, or thinly disguised racing cars. You couldn't buy one from a dealer if you tried. These are the 3 Cunningham Corvettes coming on the track and lining up in the pit area. Camerati's Corvette was number 4. The different colored headlight covers were Briggs's idea to tell the cars apart. You couldn't read the numbers, but you could spot the colors at quite a distance. It worked out real well. The Corvettes were a main attraction during the whole race week. Sports car enthusiasts from all over the world gave them a real going over, especially the engine. As I mentioned before, not many people gave them much of a chance in the race. Everyone felt they were just too heavy to compete against the smaller cars. The Corvettes received much attention from the crowd, too. They were used as official cars. Before the race, officials sealed the gasoline caps as well as the oil and water caps with boxcar seals. They made sure you used their gasoline and not something more potent. Then at pit stops, they broke the seals, then put them back on when service was finished. One of the regulations at Le Mans prohibits adding water or oil more often than every 25 laps. If you've got an overheating car, that's a tough rule to live with. The sky was overcast and the stands were full. Probably 250,000 people around the course. There's John Fitch, Zora Duntov, and me just before the race started. At 3:59 p.m., we were in our little circles and the traditional complete silence had fallen upon the crowd. And then the flag dropped.